Greetings to you from wherever you're watching us. Thanks for joining us on the Friday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Well, tonight on the show, we will be talking about the Women's African Cup of Nations. We will be talking about the things going down. It looks like an upset is on the cards. Tanzania landing the first blow against South Africa's Banyana. We'll see what happens as the game progresses. We will also take a look at, of course, the aftermath of Nigeria's victory yesterday over Botswana. We'll talk about that on the show. We will not forget to talk tennis on the show tonight. The list of finalists for the men's singles and the women's singles, we have it right now. And of course, Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner will continue their rivalry as both men will be playing in the final of Wimbledon. End of the road for Novak Djokovic. Very surprising. He lost in straight sets to Yannick Sinner. That's the outlook of the show tonight. We bid you to sit back, relax, even as we take you on this ride across the money-spinning world of sports. This is a two-man show, as you already know. My colleague, Austin Okona-Akpan, is suited and ready as we go along on this ride.
What a greetings to you, Yemi, and of course, everyone joining us on the show tonight. Always an action-packed sort of sports. I said it, I called it, that I want to see a continuation of what we saw at Roland Garros. Carlos Alcaraz versus Yannick Sinner. That's one will definitely get us talking. Sinner believes that Alcaraz robbed him in Paris. Can he do the same thing at Sunday's final in Wimbledon? We'll get to see. I mean, what a story. Last night, before we left the show, 88th minute, it was still Nigeria 0, Botswana 0. They left it late. And the game changer, that's what she is now. Chinwendu Ihezuo came on, and then she scored that late winner, saved Nigeria's blush. She's rescued Mission X. And so the Super Falcons, they've booked their place in the quarterfinals. Can they go all the way? That's the big question. We'll continue to monitor that one, Yemi. So much to talk about. Thank God it's Friday. Let's go.
All right, let's quickly. We're going to have a robust conversation, I already know that, but let me quickly introduce the guest with us in the Lagos studio. Kwemi Akede joins us now. Kwemi, greetings to you. Thanks for joining us. There's a lot to pick from tonight.
So much, and it's also a weekend of action at the final of the ongoing FIFA Club World Cup between Chelsea and PSG. More importantly, the final of the Wimbledon as well. Just like Austin called it, I really wanted to have a replay of the Roland Garros final. Let's see if Alcaraz's win was a fluke or is going to replicate the same thing against the world number one, Yannick Sinner. The manner at which he was able to dislodge Novak Djokovic was more like, just a pinch salt and just throw it around. And I'm super excited. 27 against 23. It looks like the era of the dominance of Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and Novak Djokovic is going off. And it looks like the future of tennis is safe as well. So I'm looking forward to it. Alcaraz defending champion, back-to-back, he's won it. He's aiming for the third one. Let's see what's going to happen this weekend. So it's a full-packed action weekend, no doubt.
All right, full-packed action weekend it is. But of course, we will start from where our hearts and mind is with the Super Falcons. All right, let me quickly bring in football administrator David Doherty. He's with us on the show tonight. Greetings to you, sir. Thanks for finding time to be with us on the show tonight.
Good evening, and thanks for having me.
All right. So let me just get you into the conversation. Let's just quickly talk about the Super Falcons. I want to get your thoughts. Some will say it's all settled now. They've secured passage to the next round. So you've seen two matches. Your thoughts about the Super Falcons, their performance in Morocco so far?
I think it's 50-50 as we all can see. The first game was a bit straightforward, but I think the second game, the team simply does struggled. And I think this all boils down to the tactical approach or the tactical in depth of the coach. I think he struggled. I think he wasn't sure of what to do, and yeah, I think most times he had to play maybe some players off positions and all that, and then he changes the time, taking off most creative forward, Rinsola Babajide, off every time doesn't look good for the team. And also we saw Francesca Odega against Portugal playing off front. I mean, she did absolutely very well. But in this tournament, we haven't seen her at all. There's a whole lot that I think the coach needs to put in place. Now, I think Abiodun, the midfield maestro, won't be featuring in this next game. Well, they've qualified, but the most important thing is we started seeing upset here and there. So I think they should go back to the drawing board and see how best to approach this game.
All right. Let me get one from you before I yield back to Austin Okoyemi. Your thoughts on what you've seen in the two games, Super Falcons. Most important thing we have to accept, in spite of whatever reservations we may have, they have qualified, and that is the most important task.
I don't even have any reservation about the performance. Different teams come with different tactics and approach, and then it was very clear what Botswana wanted to do yesterday. I tried to get a draw, and then they have a feeling that if they can get a draw against the Super Falcons,
yes,
their game against Tunisia,
they
could get the win and have a chance. Even if you don't qualify automatically, they can still pick the third best placed team and also go through. And it's a big one for them, and they made their debut in 2022 or thereabouts. So I think we knew what they wanted to do. Yes, the Super Falcons should, can do better, especially in our final third. We had our first shot on target yesterday around in the 60th minute or thereabout from Ashley Prompter, which I think for me is my player of the match so far in that game. But we knew what Botswana wanted to do. Keep it tight, try to get the Super Falcons on the counter. But again, gone are those days when they say, oh, football is this, football is that. Everybody that comes to play against the Super Falcons come with a simple tactic. Get point off them, get a win off them. If Botswana had won on yesterday or gotten a draw, it would have been like a victory to them, and it would have been like a dent to our own, goal going into it. Now we have 4 goals already scored. Our clean sheet so far in 2 games, we've not conceded any goal, and that's over 450 minutes of clean sheet in group stage at the Women African Cup of Nations. So I think it's very clear.
All right.
I understand that we struggled yesterday, but the most important thing, Yemi, was the fact that we got the job done.
All right, most important thing. All right, Austin, your thoughts. You were almost scaring me yesterday. And at the point, I was coming down the stairs at the office, and I heard goal. I know, yeah, the Super Falcons finally crossed the line. But your thoughts, looking at the 2 matches?
I liked it, I mean, I love the level of competition. I was saying it on the show last night. No room for complacency. You need to go out there, go hard, go big, or you're going back home. We're seeing it now with Tanzania versus South Africa. We saw Zambia, digging so deep to beat Senegal. And Nigeria, what happened against Botswana, everyone now knows that they need to sit up, because it was good as your last game. So let's see what the Super Falcons can do in their final group game against Algeria. Coach Madugu has said that, look, no game is the same. The strategies will change. He will rest some players. Abiodun Deborah will be missing because she has received 2 yellow cards. It's an opportunity for him to try other players. That's what it is. But I looked at the girls, the body language. They don't look motivated. They were not pushing enough. Something must be wrong. Let me go back to our Abuja studio. David, talk to me. You're a football administrator. You've been doing so much, to promote women's football also. What can we do to start rewarding excellence? Because that's part of what might just be the motivation for the women, don't you think so?
Absolutely. I think we need to do better in terms of our welfare. I think it's something that we need to put in place. Well, what we've been doing for the men is something that we need to replicate with the women. These ladies have been doing so much for this country. They've always put in 150% when they go out there to represent Nigeria. And I think it's normal for us to treat them the way we do treat our men. I think there's a whole lot that is still missing, and these things that happen off the pitch could be a factor that is affecting the motivation or, or the passion or the commitment that we all want from these ladies?
David, I know you've got some things coming up, something about the league, rewarding excellence. Do you just want to tell us a bit of that before we let you go?
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to do is the Nuxa Award in the UK, which we felt is going to be like a bridge. What we're trying to do is to ensure that most of our Nigerian descent that involved in different sports can also come in and be part of the development of sport in Nigeria. And one of the things that we're looking to do is the Nigerian Youth Football Development League. Part of the funds that are going to be raised on the night at this award in September the 15th in London. It's definitely going to go into that league that kicks off in October. So it's something that we're passionate about. This is something that will help both our male and female counterpart from our grassroots level in schools and community teams to start, for us to start developing them, start nurturing, young people in the right direction. Let them play football, let them enjoy it, and get, better at it. Going forward, we'll then have something to rely on as a backup for us.
I like it. So September, we reward excellence with an award, and in October, we see this development league. We're looking forward to it, David. And when you said treat the women the way you treat the men, and I remember that even the men are also complaining, so there's serious problem. Thank you so much, David Doherty, for your time. We'll to have you again on the show. Thank you.
Thank you.
So that's it, football administrator David Doherty speaking to us from our Abuja studio. Let me go back to Opeyomi Akinyode. He said some important things. I like when people talk and they highlight development. Opeyomi, with what you've seen at the WAFCON, you could tell that we need to do a lot of developmental work with our women's football, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. And it's us just trying to align with where the direction of football, women development is going to globally. We've seen the Women European Championship is also going on. And then even if you compare the attendance in the stadium, the live attendance, I saw the game between the Three Lionesses and Netherlands, I think 2 days ago, where they knew they had to win after losing their first game to France. And then you look at the turnout. Even the final of the Euros, the last time out that the Three Lionesses won at Wembley, there were over 80,000 people live in the stadium. So I think we need to start from there. We need to make women football more attractive, so that when people come into the stadium, they don't just wave it away like, oh, it's Nigeria and Botswana, 1,000 people in the stadium, 2,000 people in the stadium. So we really need to work on that side of it, make the football attractive. Then development is also key. And it boils down to how do we manage our women's league. If you look at, maybe we've had some level of consistency, but again, how many of our products have we been able to move into that big stage? When I saw the plenary list that was released by Coach Madugu, I saw players from Nasarawa Amazon, from Robo Queens, from Rivers Angels, and I just had a feeling that, hey, these people would probably not even make it to the final score that is going to WAFCON. So as we're building it at the global stage, we also need to pay so much attention to our league. See, whether we like it or not, hear me, Austin, every country that wants to progress sporting-wise, you have to pay attention to what happens at the grassroots. You have to pay attention to what happens in your respective leagues so that the product of the leagues can also join the national team. And you kind of, use that as a template to build more and also to attract, sponsors to the league. So I think we need to work so much on our development. Talking about motivation, I don't know if the girls are not exactly motivated because I don't know what else should motivate you rather than wearing the jersey of your country and playing for your country. Well, the financial side of it and all of that, but again, I think the girls will grow into the tournament.
All right.
I think they will.
We hope they do.
We must find a way to turn it around, because I kept looking at the body language and some of the talks that came out before this WAFCON started. The Nigeria Football Federation must do something about it because there is a looming crisis. Let's go to Casablanca. My colleague Cecilia Omogbe should be ready to talk to us now. Cecilia, good evening. Welcome to Sports Tonight. Tell me, has the dust settled, or are people still murmuring and squeezing faces because of what Botswana did to the Super Falcons yesterday?
In fact, Nigerians are still angry. But But you know, Austin, the good news, good evening, everyone. Austin, the good news is the fact that all the fans that came to watch the Super Falcons yesterday, it was as if they were the ones who actually cheered them on to that victory. For the first time in a very long while, I saw fans who were willing, from the blast of the whistle, even before the game started, Nigerian fans in Morocco actually came out in numbers. I thought the supporters club finally got visa to come to Morocco, only for me to ask some of them. And they were like, no, they gathered themselves as community because they discovered that the first game Nigeria played against Tunisia, you could count a handful of people. But now some of them were able to get tickets because some don't even know where they sell the tickets to even get to the stadium. So it was that bad because, you know, CAF released ticket sales 1 week before the tournament started. So some have been able to get that. You know, some guys were selling tickets outside, so people were able to come in. So that's why he had the support. So from the very blast of the whistle, we saw them cheering from the beginning till the end, even when we saw those misplaced passes and everything. So they were just eager to say, oh, Black Diamond, you have to score. Black Diamond happens to be Chiwele his way. You know, as his after was being chanted, just all through, no matter how badly they played. The fans were so, the belief was so great, and they kept chanting, just give us one goal. That was all they wanted. And of course, the Black Diamond actually ended up giving them that one goal they needed. And all 3 points, quarterfinal ticket is there. But overall, I think they were seeing the Super Falcons alone, they were excited about that. But the performance, we all understand that it wasn't great. But sometimes you feel winning is enough. You know, just win and then move on. Because we're still at the group stage. If we top our group, from all indications, we're topping the group, right? There's Morocco and Zambia waiting in the wings in the quarterfinals. So you wouldn't want to put all your energy, all your best practice, or put your best foot forward at this group stage where you're facing the likes of Algeria, Tunisia, and Botswana. All you are smiling. I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. But the truth is, yes, you've got 6 points from 2 games, and against Algeria, we might just have a 100% record at the group stage for the first time since maybe 2014. I can't remember last time we had that 100% record at the group stage. So we'll take it. A win is a win.
I will take it. I'm sure you know I'm laughing. Yemi's about to come in. Because Cecilia, I mean, the man, I know the way you'll be tackling and asking questions. Now you're trying, I get it. I love the fact that they still got 6 points and they've qualified. But Cecilia, you said something about not pushing. And look, if you don't push properly at the group phase, you probably wouldn't even make it to the quarterfinals. You see that?
I know. Yeah, I know that very well. Also, you know, we talked about this in the fact came to Morocco that Super Falcons are going to learn how to blend and learn cohesion during this tournament. Because we know, Assistant Oshola after the Olympics, she didn't play till this tournament, right? Till the game against Ghana. When we played Portugal, 8 players that are here right now in Morocco were not there. So when we played Cameroon, most of the players were not there. When we played the last two games, we played because we know this year we played just before the tournament. And last year we played France and we also played Algeria, you know, twice. Check the players that played against Algeria, that's 6-2 victory, right? Most of them are not even at this tournament. So you know, you have to, there's this miss and match we're trying to do. And we're trying to have that cohesion at this group stage. I think that's where the problem is. Check our front 3. We've never had that before. We've got Assistant, we've got Tony Payne, and then we've got Risola. That's our front 3. We've never had that before. And take a look at the midfield too. Check the players that we have and take a look at the back 4. So it tells you a whole lot that this man is trying to see really best for me. And that's why second half we're saying, okay, there's this taking Assistant Oshola, bring it to Koronko, then take out the front 3 and have another front 3. Then in the middle, you take out Deborah Abiodun, who is going to miss the next match anyway because of 2 yellow cards in 2 games. And then you bring in Jennifer Echegini. So that's what we know about him. But we don't know what he's going to do against Algeria. Maybe he's going to allow some players who haven't played, the likes of Francisca Odega, Olumonu and the likes, maybe they're going to start the game against Algeria so that the others can rest, and then we'll see. And the body language of the players, I don't know if it's, you know, the story that came out just a day before their game, is that, hey, they are being owed wages since 2021 and everything. So,
Wow.
so that could also be another thing because NFL president, I think he has gone to the US now. I mean, he's been present in India 2 games.
Well, you know, Cecilia, I might have to butt in, and I said,
Yeah.
wow. You said some things, and I said, wow. I'm going to allow you continue with that train of thought, but we need to go on a break right about now. And when we return from that break, we'll still be talking to Super Falcons, and of course, we'll be extraying what has happened in Group A and Group B and look ahead to the final day fixtures. Let's go on that break. We'll return for more on Sports Tonight. All right, welcome back. Well, we've been talking about the Women's African Cup of Nations, and let's go straight into what it looks like in the group standings. And behind me, we're already looking at Group B. I mean, forgive us if we start from Group B. That's where our hearts and mind is. It's heartwarming to note that the Super Falcons of Nigeria topped that group and have qualified for the next round. 6 points out of possible 6, and followed by Algeria. Next is Tunisia and Botswana. All right, that's in Group B. But there is one more game to play, the final group game. So let's just quickly see final group fixture. There you have it. Nigeria will take on Algeria. Tunisia will take on Botswana. It must be said, whatever happens in that game, Nigeria has qualified. All right, let's go to Group A quickly. Let's see the group standing and the fixture in Group A. Then, of course, you have the host, Morocco, with 4 points. Zambia as well with 4. Senegal with 3 points. And, of course, DR Congo, who might be the weeping girls of that group, still without a point. All right, the final day fixtures in Group A. There you have it. Morocco will take on Senegal. Zambia will take on Congo DR. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in this one. All right, before we continue with our conversation, let's take some reactions. The players have been talking, the coaches have been talking, but let's start with the opposition tonight on the show. Let's listen to the coach of Botswana, Alex Mallet, speaking after his team's very painful loss. They considered a goal in the dying. Okay, let's start with the Super Falcons. I think it's better that way. We'll start with the Super Falcons, then, of course, we'll flip over and take the guys from Botswana.
You know, every game has its own strategy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, and that's why you have to effect changes when you realize that things are not working out for you. And players will always, it's not always that you always have good days. There are times that you can also have some bad days. It's not deliberate, and that's why you have many players on the bench that you can always make changes. Yes, some individually didn't put up a very good performance, and that accounted for the way the game went on our side. We were not happy about it, but then we got better, particularly in the second half, and opportunities came our way, and we had to convert one of the chances that we had into a goal. The Botswana team were already aware that they lost their first game, and they needed to get something out of this game. You can understand their approach. They were very committed and determined to make sure that they get result out of it. On our own side, I will say some of us were a bit complacent, and we took things for granted, and that accounted for why we had the kind of game that we equally had. So for me, it's a combination of both factors. It is always work in progress. Even if we score 10 goals, it doesn't mean we will not make mistakes, and there will not be things that we still need to work on. So as we keep playing, we watch everybody. There are individual errors that will be corrected. There are team errors that we still have to work on. It's still work in progress. And certainly, when you have a lot of players like that, and you need to also give others a chance. So certainly, we will make some changes in the last game against Algeria. That is not to say we are presenting any team that is weak. All the players that are here are quite capable of playing in all the matches. So even when we make those changes, obviously we have to manage our players very well, because we are looking at playing 6 games. So we have to manage them very well. So even when we make those changes.
All right. Coach Joseph Madu, just confirming what Cecilia said about the likely changes. A quick one from you, Okwemi, before we go to the flip side and listen to the Botswana manager. Coach Justin Madugu caused the picture of somebody who is calm, who's taking things as they come.
I like that. I like that the coach said we have plans to play 6 games. That means he's already seen the team in the final, which is good enough. And I also like the fact that we didn't feel too comfortable despite the fact that we won. It shows that we know how better we can perform as a team. And no disrespect to Botswana, but yeah, it's still the Super Falcons, regardless of how we look at it. The goal is very clear, get the 10th Women African Cup of Nations. So I like the body language of Coach Justin Madugu. I like the fact that they understand that, hey, there were individual errors, which we saw a lot of those errors yesterday, and there were also team errors as well. Good enough for us. We don't have a win at all cost situation in our 3rd match. We've already gone through. Probably we just want to secure the 1st place so that we can see if we can avoid, powerhouses like Bayana, or, the host nation, the Atlas Lioness of Morocco. So I think it's good enough that we have a 3rd game to bring in a couple of new players, maybe, for instance, Francisco Odega as well, get ourselves into it, and maybe just play in a more relaxed way. Maybe then we can also see more players that can even start in our quarterfinal games if you're lucky enough. So I like the fact that we won. We still weren't comfortable enough that we won because we knew that we could have done better. And the coach also said that games, there are no 2 games that are the same. Same way, there are no 2 taxis that are also the same. Games management was good, and I think we're solid as well. I like the body language of the coach.
All right, I do as well. Let's quickly listen to the coach of Botswana. Very deflated, but then again, they put up a good performance.
Firstly, I want to applaud the players for the brave fight they put today. I thought we deserved more. We deserved to get a point at least. And today it was all about showing the spirit we have in the team. And then we've also shown a lot of quality today. But we have to stay positive. It's a painful loss, but there's still an opportunity for us to go through to the quarterfinals. When we came here, we were all about advancing to the next round, and I'm still very positive. Following today's performance, that is something that we can really build on it. And in terms of how we're going to play our next match, we are forced to win, and we will win, I'm sure. I think when you approach the game, there are certain things that you look at. Firstly, you look at your own team. We are in a tournament. You look at the qualifier state. What is happening within the group? What is happening in other groups, that is A and C? You look at the opponents. What is it that they do so well? What is it that they struggle with? And us being defensive, did we create opportunities? Yeah, we did. Nothing wrong with the game plan. Very painful. The plan was spot on, execution spot on. It's a game, should we have taken the few chances, we could also have scored. I think everyone knows that they have rich history in women football. Everyone knows that 95% of the players, they play in Europe, so they have too much quality. And today, I'm proud of my team. We put up a brave fight, and we deserve something from this game. Yeah, it didn't happen. It's part of the game. Painful one. We move forward. We are positive. I think it's time we put some respect on Botswana. We are never go to the game to delay the game. We have the quality to compete. Did we compete? Yes. Did we win duels? A lot of them. So we need to put the respect on Botswana.
Wow, very infectious optimism right there. And for once, we have to put aside the fact that we're Nigerians. Let's forget about patriotism. The coach says they had a good game plan. They probably didn't execute it well, and he still feels they deserved something from that game. I don't know if Austin agrees. And he's also telling us to put some respect to Botswana's name. He has earned that right. But do you think they deserved more than what they got from that game?
I don't know about deserving more. They did just enough to push Nigeria as best as they could. And, you know, unsettled nerves. And yeah, it was a good scare, I must say. Do they deserve some respect? Yes. And I gave them their flowers right after I saw their first game against Algeria. Yeah, I said it that they made they gave a good account of themselves. They would have, done just enough to not lose that game. If they had played a draw that game, the narratives would have changed against Nigeria, But it is what it is. This is football where anything can happen. And Justin Madugu said it. Botswana, take your flowers. You deserve some respect, but nobody will tell me. If it's the Super Eagles, that I do not know. They can go out and then anything can happen. But Super Falcons, Nigeria, Botswana, how about Coach Alex? There's no way you would expect us to think that Botswana will upset the Super Falcons in any way. That was the best they did yesterday. Pushed the game all the way till the 89th minute. Nigeria got the win. But let's go back to Cecilia. Cecilia, you see what your ladies they've cost now. Botswana is saying that we should give them some respect for what they did to Nigeria. No disrespect, they did their bit. But Cecilia, how do the Super Falcons, how can they pick themselves back up now? Because that game against Algeria is important. You're as good as your last game, and after that game, it's quarterfinals.
Definitely, it is really. And no, let me finish. That's a presser. What he said at the end. He says that our best players were taken off because they couldn't do anything, and so why are we disrespecting them? That he was really livid because he felt they were disrespected because of the questions he was being asked at the press conference. So best players didn't perform; they were taken off. So put some respect. I actually respect the Botswanans because I was surprised by what they played. Because Chiamaka Nnadozie said something, pre-match game. She says that Botswana is going to come into the game as if it's a final for them because they know losing to Falcons means they are going out. And that's what they did. They played it as if they were playing a final, and give them that respect. Their second appearance at WAFCON, and they, followed Falcons 2-2. Now, as you mentioned, the last game against Algeria, you're as good as your last game. But sometimes you see some teams tend to play when you're playing a stronger opponent. So against Algeria, we may not have to dwell so much on that game. But I think because of what happened against Botswana, the Super Falcons we know will definitely come out, gun blazing, because all the players admitted that it was a bad game. From Alozie to Chiamaka, all of them, they admitted that wasn't a good game. Even Rasheedat Ajibade, when she was given player of the match, she wasn't even smiling. She wasn't happy because she felt they don't even deserve that victory because of the kind of performance they played. I was forced to ask her if she was even injured because her pace wasn't there. We know how she runs and everything. That was missing. Tony Payne that can run the flanks on a very good day, it was missing. So we saw these lapses, and I'm sure against Algeria, those will be corrected. But I doubt if the coach will want to use the first 11 he used in the game against Botswana. I think he's going to make lots and lots of changes. And those girls, once they have the opportunity to play, they haven't played the first 2 games. I think they want to give their role to ensure they can, grab the shirt and hold on to it in subsequent games. We have 6 matches to play, so 2 down the drain. We still have 4 to go. So it's a whole lot to play for, really.
I'll let you go get some rest, but tell those ladies to stop playing with our blood pressures because it was
no worries.
Yesterday.
Did you use your calculator, Austin? You didn't. You didn't use your calculator.
No, it's okay. It's okay. You have the bragging rights. Yeah, but they worried us, Cecilia. Some people are going to see their doctors now.
6 points.
Cecilia.
I was at the stadium. I was calm because I know the goal will come.
I know I will not win this one. I wish the Super Falcons all the best and have a great time out there.
Story quickly, a quick one, quickly. There was actually a fan, he was so excited after the game. Right. He ran onto the pitch, shirtless, ran onto the pitch, celebrated with the players, took his time and went back, was waving at everybody from the stand before he went back to sit. No security guard, nothing.
I know.
It was quite funny, but not proper.
Not good, particularly for the women's game. Our beautiful people should be protected. Thank you so much, Cecilia Omogbe, for your time on the show.
Thank you.
So that's it. Cecilia Omogbe in Casablanca, giving us the live updates from the Women's Africa Cup of Nations. Let's wrap this up with you. Do you have any worries ahead of the final group game against Algeria?
I don't think so. I am pretty excited that we'll get the job done against Algeria. I have a feeling that the Algerians would certainly not, build a very low defense line like Botswana did. Algeria also, want to also brighten their chance of getting through to the next stage of this tournament. And for Botswana also, actually, I understand the manager if he says we should put some respect on their name, because we all agree that it wasn't the best of days in the office for us, especially after our first game, against Tunisia. So we kind of expected that it was going to be. I was pretty confident that the Super Falcons would get a whole lot of goals yesterday. But even at that point, I tweeted yesterday. I said, no matter what the Botswana wants to do, the Super Falcons will win this game. So sometimes you have to really labor hard and to get the result and get the goals that you want. So for our last game, we've qualified already. I'm sure we want to also top the group. So that means that we'll have to bring in a couple of those players that have not had time, and that is where it's tricky. Those ones would also want to come in and prove that they deserve to be in the starting 11, and it could give the manager some stress going into the quarterfinal fixtures, especially when you have players that choose to stand out in their last game against Algeria.
All right. So before we leave the matter altogether, in Group C, Mali and Ghana, it was 1 goal apiece, and of course the game Tanzania. Maybe Austin will just give us the update live on TV. Tanzania, South Africa, before we came in to the studio, was Tanzania leading by a goal. What is the situation as we speak before we go to Kano? Okay.
It's yet played in that game between Tanzania and South Africa. It's now Tanzania 1, South Africa 1. South Africa was definitely going to fight, and in the 70th minute, Mbane with the equalizer. So Bayana might just fight now, push it the final minute to see if they can get a win, Yemi.
All right. I guess a lot of people are now telling us that Banyana not invincible as some people think they are. All right, so let's just go to tennis. We had a lot to do, but of course we have to go to tennis, and that's our next sport of call. And let's start with Taylor Fritz and Carlos Alcaraz. I want to get your thoughts. Taylor Fritz the other time played in the US Open final, cried. Lost Yannick Sinner, said he let down the Americans. He's been a long time an American male player. I think the last, if I can remember, maybe Andre Agassi, I can't remember the last person, but Carlos Alcaraz looking like it might be difficult to knock him off the pitch.
Difficult. I know his aim is certainly to get to that world #1. And it's going to be very tough for him because of the form that Jannik Sinner is playing at the moment. He's playing some devastating level of tennis. Look at the way it took Novak Djokovic to the cleaners. Alcaraz had to, find a way around it, come from a set down, eventually pull through. But it was 6-3, 6-3, 6-4 for, Jannik Sinner against Novak Djokovic.
That was a demolition.
That was a one-sided semi-final.
But this one, we had to go to 4 sets. At one point, it was 1 apiece. Yes. A testament to the fact that both players, not much of a gap.
I'm excited. A lot of us had fears that what would happen if this era of Rafael Nadal, Novak Djokovic, and Roger Federer moves the way we were also scared that, Messi and Ronaldo. And it looks like the future of tennis is safe. It also looks like the era of Carlos Alcaraz is just 23. It probably could be here for maybe the next 10, 12 years.
Possibly.
Top tennis. And just like a whole lot of people feel like he's the heir apparent to Rafael Nadal's throne, it looks like he's not just going to be the king of clay. It looks like he's also going to be coming up there.
King of all the surface.
He's won the last 2 Wimbledon, and he's going to make it 3. And that's going to be very tough against a player he defeated just a few weeks ago at the final of Roland Garros, which is the world #1, Jannik Sinner. I wouldn't have asked for a better final than the pairing that we have right now, Yemi.
Let me go to Austin now. I'm just going to say this, then I'll just leave the floor to Austin. We were talking about that elbow. We're talking about the elbow injury, and a lot of us were worried, and some of us felt, okay, Novak has a chance. This guy looks like the elbow, even though the elbow didn't show in the quarterfinal, but this was a demolition. It reminds you of Roger Federer post-2012. Was always getting to finals, getting to semifinals. Always, it was being beat by those guys you thought were on his level. And it appears like Djokovic is there now. So if you were in this camp, would you say, walk away with 24 Grand Slams or continue to get beaten like this? I can't say that his legacy will ever be tarnished, but some will say, don't let these small boys be beating you like this. Maybe you should walk away. What will it be for you? Wait around till you get to 25 or keep receiving, because this wasn't a fight, it was blowout, straight blowout. What would the advice of Novak be at 38?
Yeah, I mean, I'm the guy who is saying fall 9 times and get up 10 times. You know, don't quit. And look, Novak didn't do so badly. Let's not forget. He had that thigh injury that he was nursing, and that will affect movement. And the doctor, I think after the second set, the medical team, they were trying to tell him, look, you can't go on. But hey, fight till the end, because anything can happen. And when that third set started, the way he was playing, the way he was pushing after the first 2 games, I was thinking, oh, maybe he could get back in it. But if you give Yannick elbow injury and you give Djokovic a thigh injury, the guy with a thigh injury can't do anything because he cannot move. Tennis is a game of movement, you know. You should be able to go to the baseline, move to the court, move to the net, come back, you know, do those runs. If your movement is impeded, then there's nothing you can do. But hey, Yannick is a sinner on the court. He has shown it over and over. Today he played imperious tennis, and he has said he cannot wait to meet Carlos Alcaraz again. I told you last night on this show that I want to see them play again. You know, they're beginning to create the sort of rivalry that we want to see. And why I like this is because during the time of Rafa Nadal, we'll say king of clay, king of clay. No, Carlos Alcaraz is telling us, I will play on clay, I will do my magic also on grass or any other surface. So these 2 guys, they will definitely, look, the tennis world loves it. It's good for the commercialization of the game, for marketing, for everything. So let's see what's going to happen.
Let me butt in before you wrap up. Let me just butt in because I want to get Okoyemi on live TV to just quickly say something. Carlos Alcaraz, Yannick Sinner, 15 seconds. Who gets it?
Alcaraz win. I'm a huge fan of Rafael Nadal, so whoever is stepping into that shoes that the great player left behind certainly does this for me. Alcaraz straight up.
All the way. I go with Alcaraz, especially because of that elbow injury. Alcaraz not being injured, then Yannick struggling with that elbow, probably going to be exposed, and the fact that he's defending champion. I'm not sitting on the fence. I'll go all the way for Carlos Alcaraz. So we pass the baton to Austin. Who has to say something on live TV?
No, you know, I did just enough for you last night. I said it was going to be a Carlos Alcaraz and Yannick Sinner final. Let's leave it at that. I have done that. Whoever tennis wants to give it on Sunday, I will take. But let's get ready for some breathtaking tennis because those guys, they have unsettled business. Quick update before we go on the show. It's still Tanzania won. South Africa won at the Women's Africa Cup of Nations, 87th minute. But in the 84th minute, Tanzania, John Chenge was shown a red card. So, Yemi, South Africa might just use that numerical advantage now, push all the way and see if they can get the win. That's the show. In London, I'm Austin Okonakman. In everything you do, remember, let's keep talking sports. Bye for now.
All right, it's a wrap here in Lagos, but I want to thank Okoyemi Akinade for his time on the show today.
Thank you very much. Austin chooses to sit on the fence. No, it's not working here. It's Alcaraz all the way.
All right, I'll go with that as well. That's the show today. We do hope you've enjoyed everything we've been able to bring to you. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you again next week. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.